The baby bottle slipped from my hands and rolled across the floor. I was too exhausted to pick it up. My daughter was crying, and I hadn't slept in 2 days. I was only 22 when I became a mother, and her father left before she turned 1. He wasn't ready to be a father, and I wasn't ready to be alone, but life doesn't wait for you to be ready. I moved into a tiny one-room apartment and worked 2 jobs, one at a bakery during the day and another cleaning offices at night. I took my daughter everywhere because there was no one else. My parents lived far away and didn't approve of my choices. My friends had their own lives to build. It was just the 2 of us, surviving day by day. Money was always tight. I learned to stretch every coin, cooking simple meals, buying second-hand clothes, and walking instead of taking the bus. When she got sick, I stayed home and lost jobs because of it. But I never let her see my fear. Her smile every morning gave me strength. Her tiny hand in mine reminded me I wasn't truly alone. I was her mother, and nothing else mattered. On her 3rd birthday, I gave her a used teddy bear that I had cleaned and tied with a red ribbon. She loved it and hugged it all night. That moment made everything worth it. As she grew, I took extra shifts to give her more. I packed her lunches, read her bedtime stories, and promised myself I would never let her down. Her first day of school broke my heart and filled it at the same time. She wore a little blue dress and looked so proud. I waved from the gate and cried all the way home. Every evening we sat together at our small table. She told me about her day, showed me her drawings, and called me her best friend. Those were beautiful years. I didn't have much, but I had her love. When she was 7, she asked about her father. I told her he lived in another city. I didn't want her to feel rejected. I wanted her to feel safe and loved. Time moved quickly. She grew taller, smarter, and more independent. When she turned 10, I surprised her with a bright new school bag. She hugged me and said I was the best mum in the world. That night I cried from the weight of love. In middle school, things changed. She wanted new clothes and a phone I couldn't afford. I started cleaning houses on weekends and skipped breakfast so she could have lunch at school. I never told her. I didn't want her to feel guilty. She became quieter, spending more time in her room and answering me with short words. I told myself it was normal, but I missed the little girl who used to run into my arms. Then one evening she told me she had found her father on social media. He wanted to meet her. My heart sank, but I smiled and said she could decide. She met him the next week, and he took her to restaurants, bought her gifts, and told her stories. She came home excited, saying he was kind and understood her. I nodded and said nothing, but I couldn't sleep that night. She started seeing him more often. He gave her things I couldn't afford: new shoes, new books, a tablet. He had missed all the hard years, the sleepless nights, the empty fridge, and now he was suddenly her hero. One day she said she wanted to spend a few weeks with him. I smiled and helped her pack, slipping a note in her bag telling her I loved her. She didn't notice. She was too busy texting. The house felt empty after she left. I sat in her room for hours, remembering her first steps, her first day at school, the birthday card she made from old paper. Days turned into weeks. She visited occasionally, but talked mostly about her father. His house was nicer, his food was better, his rules were easier. I listened and smiled, but something inside me was breaking. One afternoon, she called and said she wanted to live with him full time. It was just easier, she said. He understood her better. I told her I understood and wished her well. Then I hung up and cried for hours. I had given everything, missed birthdays, skipped meals, worked through pain, all for her, and now she was walking away with a soft goodbye that felt like a knife. Weeks turned into months. She didn't call often. I saw photos online of her smiling with her father, birthday cakes, school events, trips I knew nothing about. She didn't tag me. She had erased the years I gave her. I kept working because life didn't stop. Her room stayed the same. I couldn't pack it away. Every time I passed her door, I felt a sharp pain in my chest. She didn't come home for the holidays. Her father took her on vacation. She didn't respond. My health began to fail. I fainted at work and woke up in a hospital bed. They said I had stress-related problems and needed rest. I stayed 3 nights. When I came home, I found an old notebook of hers. Inside were simple notes she had written when she was 9. My mum makes the best soup. She works so hard. I love her more than the stars. I held it to my chest and cried. I wrote her a letter saying I hoped she was happy and that I missed her voice. I mailed it, not expecting an answer. 2 weeks later, the doorbell rang. When I opened the door, there she was. She looked older, taller, more confident. She stepped inside and stayed for an hour. She asked about my health. I told her some of the truth. Before she left, she said she would come back soon. I smiled, but didn't believe her. A few weeks later, she came again with groceries. She made tea. We talked about simple things. These visits became more regular, always short, always polite. One evening, we looked at old photos. She pointed at a picture from a school play. "You made that costume," she said quietly. I still remember how proud I felt. She turned the page and saw her 8th birthday. "You baked that cake." It looked terrible but tasted amazing. We laughed, then she looked at me and whispered, "I forgot a lot of things, didn't I?" Her next visit was different. She brought soup, the kind I used to make. "You need to rest now," she said. "Let me do something for you this time." That night I sat in the quiet and smiled. It wasn't the same as before. It never would be. But it was something. It was a beginning. She started staying longer, helping clean, cooking meals, bringing flowers on random days. She taught me how to use online banking and set up reminders on my phone. We became something new, not just mother and daughter, but to women learning to be close again. We didn't try to fill every gap. We focused on the present, on the days we still had. One morning I woke to the sound of her humming in the kitchen. She was making breakfast, moving like she belonged. She found an old photo of us at the park and placed it on the fridge next to a note that said Mum S Medicine 10. That note stayed up for weeks. It made me smile every time I saw it because she was paying attention again. She saw me. She once asked if I regretted everything. I said no. Every meal I cooked, every tear I wiped, every long night, they were all part of love. I didn't expect anything back. But having her now felt like enough. Years ago, I feared she would leave and never look back. I feared I would just be a name in childhood stories. But now I know I was more than that. I was her first home, her first teacher, her first love. And I have learned that even if your love is not seen at first, it leaves a mark that can grow, return, and gently remind the world that you were there, that you mattered.